late. So awesome for jumping on Zoom. Thanks, guys. Good seeing you. And thank you guys. This is an awesome little crowd we got here because Debbie's here, of course. Right? She's like, yeah, it's Debbie's teaching today. Now, Debbie, you probably come in once a month.
At least once a month, yeah.
Maybe 6-week intervals or whatever, but we love having Debbie in here. She does a lot of CE classes. Not all of our trainings are CE classes. It's just an extra bonus. It's just good information, stuff to make us better. Debbie's been what, 2 years? How long? Yeah. So she's part of the family in here. Usually people come in here, we all know each other and everything. So we're excited to have her back. And we're talking database today. Lynn's like, yeah, because as long as we've been doing that, ours is a mess. We're seriously in the process of cleaning up again. So this will all be good information. So I'm gonna share your screen and turn it over to you and move into it. Okay.
Got a couple of surprises today as well. So
Ooh, I like surprises.
we're always leveling up, right? Every time. All right, who here has the database? So who here is just doing referral only?
Yeah, that's why mine's a mess.
So we've got some things we can learn today then. So if you haven't been to one of my CE classes before, which probably isn't anybody here, but how we bank the credit is you're going to have a QR code to a form at the end. And we're randomly going to just say 5 keywords throughout the hour of the training. You're going to need to write them down. So make sure you guys all have a pen and paper. I guess there are a couple of, there's one guy who hasn't been to my CE classes before. So grab a pen and paper. You're going to randomly write down these keywords, and then at the Google form at the end, you'll fill out your first name, last name, your license number. If you have that, you can be looking that up too. Your brokerage, and then the 5 keywords. That's what we use to bank your hours. And that'll be done probably by the end of the day today, if not tomorrow. And then there's a couple of other questions on there you can fill out for more information. If you see anything you want to ask me about today, you can email me about that. You can ask for the slides. All of those questions are on there. So working with your database. This is a really important topic, especially when business is kind of slow right now. So we're seeing some challenges out there. And this is basically, most of you have seen our success formula before. So if you have seen this, don't answer. What do you think F times R times C stands for?
Frequency times reach times credibility.
Oh, it's on there. I'm supposed to put that on the next one. That's right. Okay, so frequency times reach times credibility. So that is the success formula for working with your database. So frequency, actually, let's work on R first. Reach is who these people are. People that already know you, like you, and trust you, right? So, and we have different categories, and I'm going to go through the details of that in a minute, but we can break them up. I like to break them up into A, B, and C. So A is going to be the people most likely to either buy or sell in the next year, or the most likely to send you referrals in the next year. So these are going to be the ones that get most of your personal marketing efforts. And then B group is going to be, people in your SOI that already know you, like you, and trust you, but maybe they're not quite in that range. So they'll be on some active systems and more passive systems. And then you'll have a C group that's anyone you meet anywhere that's interested in getting your newsletters or getting on your email list. And then they're going to get those touches at least once a month. And we'll go into the details of there in a minute, but that's your reach. And you want to have a minimum to have a good business of 250 people in your database. So I want everyone to pull up their phones, go to your contacts, and scroll all the way to the bottom and tell me what that number is.
Oh boy.
I gotta get it.
Contacts. Yeah. Oh, contacts. Yeah. So scroll all the way to the bottom. There's a number there. There's a number there.
Oh, okay, I found it.
Dang, you
found it. 5124.
5124.
Is this a winner?
Yeah, you know what? Yes, I can see a prize. It's in my car. I've got a $25 gift card to the cheesecake factory for whoever has the most. So you said 54? Where's the 51-24, 45.
Yeah, 45. So a lot of-
Where are we supposed to see them?
How many are people?
It is still more than 250. How much, what's your number? Okay. What's your number?
Z.
She's ordering more lunch with mine.
Oh, okay. What was your number?
Like 1150.
1150, okay.
And they're not duplicate.
No, man.
3,300,
I have random numbers.
3,050, 979,
348.
348. Oh my goodness.
Sounds like some crazy.
2,000.
Give you a number.
2,572. All right, these are mostly all really good numbers. Everybody is above 250. So all of these people that are in your phone, they better be in your database. And I am gonna, if you do not have one, if you do not have one, I will send you one, the QR code to one in a minute. But I just wanted you to look at your numbers because you can't measure what you're not tracking, right? So let's get a base idea of the people that you know, if they're in your contacts, they're intimately connected to you. At some point in time, they gave you their phone number. Do we have that person on the phone go downstairs?
Whose phone is that?
She's talking in the hallway.
You just tell her to walk down.
Yeah.
We don't have to go in here, just push her down the steps.
All right, so that's your baseline number there. And we're gonna talk about working how to get those people into your sheets. There are some ways you can get your contacts. You can Google how to get your contacts exported directly from your phone into a spreadsheet. So there are ways to do that. And then you'll see if you have, you know, the first name, the last name, the phone number, the email, you'll see and be able to track what data is missing. And then you can come up with a system to connect with those people and start getting more of their information. Frequency. So this is how often you're contacting them. Like I mentioned before, you're going to break this up into 3 different groups at least. And certain people, your A group is going to get a little bit more frequent touches than B and C. A different system. So like your neighbors in your neighborhood, your farm, right? Frequent touches if for your neighborhood farm. Do you have a business networking group that you're a part of? So that will have a different system for the frequency of touches. And then your credibility. What are you doing to make sure that they know that you're the expert? Especially if you're new in the industry. If you're a year or 2 in, your friends and your family may not necessarily like you, they know you. But what are you doing to make sure they trust you with the biggest purchase or sale of their life, their home? That's a really big deal to people. It's one of the biggest decisions usually that most people make, other than who you marry and how many kids you're going to have. It's your home purchase. So what are you doing to be credible? So we're going to talk about those systems today as well. Okay, so here are the 7 steps that we're going to be covering today. Becoming perceived as the expert in your industry, no matter if you're new or 20-something years in, it's something you always want to keep on top of because people will forget. I work with agents all the time who say, oh my gosh, my cousin or my old neighbor or the person down the street used some other agent. Whose fault is that? Your fault. It's not theirs. It's not, the duty does not devolve upon them to use you just because you exist. It is your job to keep that relationship going and active and produce the credibility that makes them want to do business with you so that they trust that you know what you're doing. Okay, so step 2, we're going to work on building our list. I'm going to have a handout for you to do later. Introduce and connect is going to be your next system. We're going to talk about how to be maintaining visibility and contact. And then the things to do during that process, after the process, and some do's and so Tracy, will you read that quote for everybody?
I'm just writing that down, because that's a great quote. Dreams don't work unless you do.
Right.
Unknown.
That's right. So who here has read Atomic Habits? That is one of my favorite books. And one of the quotes out of there is, what's the difference between winners and losers? It's not your dreams and goals, right? Everyone wants to be successful. Everyone wants to be a millionaire. The difference is the systems and the habits, right? So the systems and the habits are going to get you there. So you've got to have the correct system, right? You've got to have proven marketing systems, but you've got to also have the consistency and the discipline in following through. All right, let's have Lucky read this quick.
That's like my worst enemy. Have you ever heard a crackhead say, I have no money, I'm not going to smoke today? No, they always find a way. Are you gonna let a crackhead out hustle you today?
We do want to.
It's true. They know what they want, and they're gonna do what they need to do to get their goal. So how passionate are you about getting your goal? I do coach some agents one-on-one because I used to be a coach, and so I do that in real estate now, as some of you know. And this is one of the things that we deal with, these excuses, right? Like, oh, I don't want to be pushy, I don't want to be salesy. You're doing a disservice if you don't show up and teach. It's not just about hustle and grind and getting the deal. It's about knowing, like, you are the one that is going to give them accurate information. A year after 2021, so 2022, when the news headlines were saying, oh my gosh, foreclosures are up 150%. Well, the moratorium. So is that accurate information that they're going to be getting? No, the media is designed to be sensationalized. Usually they do that with fear mongering. So it is your job to educate and teach and provide, to be their mentor and their guide and their coach. Because if they sit back and wait for some big recession or some crash that may or may not happen, and we have those charts that show the cost of waiting in our other classes, and what is going to happen to those who wait too long? They get further and further behind, right? They're not gaining their equity. Real estate always appreciates over time. You guys know this. So this is part of the credibility. Get educated on the market, get educated on equity and appreciation, and have those conversations. You're not being pushy, you're not being salesy. You need to show up and don't let the crackhead out. Okay, so what is your goal in real estate? Do you even have one, or are you just showing up, going with the flow every day? Do you have a goal? Raise your hand if you have a goal in real estate right now. Okay, what's your goal?
Oh, I have lots of goals, but we want to make 500,000.
500,000 a year? Okay, do you have systems designed to get you there?
Yes.
And are you following through on them daily?
We're working on that.
All right, awesome. Okay, who else has a goal for real estate right now? Mark, what's your goal?
Complete 5 transactions in California, and complete 10 transactions this year.
For the year. So 5 in California, 10 in Utah for the year is your goal. Love it. All right, just.
And no, I do not have good systems in place.
You- We have both systems.
What I can tell you is, like, from that farm, I had another agent on the phone with me this morning. They just listed another home. They said, how's the farm working? You're online. The return on investment, I haven't gotten a lot of any listings yet out of it, but what I have got is, I can tell you at least 100 people out of 1,000 know my first name, and they know when I would knock on their door. Some of them are now, and some of them are actually saying, hey, Mark, I'm still not selling my house. They know more than us.
Yeah,
Just by showing up on the door, and some of them are asking, do you have that bubble this month? So there is, if I have 100 out of 1,000 that recognize joy, that I show up on the porch in 2 months, I consider that successful, because when it is time to list their home, they know who the building.
that's right. And Mark did this by moving here from California. He did that from scratch. He didn't know anyone in that neighborhood. A year ago, year and a half?
About a year and a half.
About a year and a half ago, he showed up brand new from California and created that many relationships by choosing a system and being super consistent with that system. You know your why. Why do you do real estate? Raise your hand if you know your why.
Yeah.
Sounds like fun. Someone else would tell me to do it. Okay, so I like to share the example of how your why will fuel your drive, right? So we can out hustle the crackhead. So imagine, and I've done this with some of you before, so don't answer if you've heard this one before, but imagine the plank, 6 inches by 20 feet on the ground in front of you. If I offer you $50 to walk across that plank, how many of you are gonna say yes? Raise your hand. Let's be participatory. Thank you. Everybody, it'd kind of be silly not to, right? But if I take that same plank and put it between two 20-story buildings and offer you the same $50 to walk across that plank, who then is going to say yes? We usually have one adrenaline junkie in the room. That's Hart.
Do you get a parachute?
No, so we've got one adrenaline junkie in the room that will do that because his why is that are you a risk taker? Do you like those kind of things, those kind of activities? But for most of us, our why is not big enough. The risk outweighs the why. Unless I tell you that other building is on fire and your children are in it, and the only way to them is to walk across that link. How many of people are going to walk across that, whether there's $50 or not? Right.
I think there's a movie
Well,
somewhere.
it does, that is.
Which channel? Oh, that's funny.
All of them are there. Yeah, Mark?
Depends what your relationship is with your.
That's what your relationship. Right, so you could feel the difference internally, I hope. The drive was there, your passion and fire was like lit to go walk across that plank, right? So knowing your why are you in real estate? Are you here to give your family a better life? Are you here because this industry has no glass ceiling on your income? It's determined only by you. And yet you can still have the freedom to create your hours. That's why I'm in it. I want to be able to go to my kids' choir concerts and soccer games and not have anybody telling me when I can or cannot go, or what I can or cannot make. It's 100% up to me. But also, the bad part of that is it's 100% up to me, right? So no one's telling you what to do. So it again, the duty devolves upon you to fuel your why and your drive and create some systems and be consistent with building the habits of those systems to get you to where you want to be. It's not a quick fix. This is not a get rich quick industry. It can be once you get your pipeline built, but it does take time. It usually takes, even with a really good system and really good habits in place, when you're starting a new one, it usually takes on average 2 to 3 months to see the fruits of those seeds that you're planting, right? So we've been working with your new buyer for almost that time right now, right? Because it's first-time home buyer, has credit issues, and it takes some time to nurture some new leads. Even if you get a seasoned investor who they know what they're doing and they know what they want, but if they're seasoned, they probably have someone else they've been working with. So it still takes some time to nurture that relationship and build that trust. So either way, it's not an overnight thing, that you need to be consistent. And all of the systems we're talking about today are proven to work, but you need to find 1 or 2 to start with and build that consistency. So knowing your numbers, knowing your why, so your goals, we talked about that. So know that for yourself, how much you want to make. This is where we do that reverse engineering, because knowing your numbers, knowing you want to hit 500,000 or 250,000, then you need to know what the numbers are to get there. What is your commission split? So what do you get after an average deal that you do? And then how many deals per month, per year, and then balancing out the hot season versus the slow season. What do you need to do every single day to get yourself to that number? Break down your numbers. And I have some sheets. If you guys want some sheets to fill those out, I can send those to you too. And then having an accountability partner. This levels up everybody's game. It's been proven time and time again. Every coaching industry out there shows that having a coach or a mentor or even just an accountability partner to show up to and be accountable to. These are the goals, these are the marketing systems, weekly or twice a month or at least once a month, showing up and saying, I did or did not do this and why. Makes a world of difference, right? I know you're starting to coach people too, right? And have you experienced that yet? Have they come to you and said, oh my gosh, because of this appointment, I leveled up and got my stuff done. Otherwise, I would have postponed. That happens to every single person that I coach. At one point in time, they've said that, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for this appointment because I would have postponed, I would have procrastinated. And I even went a couple of times I even heard I got up at 4 a.m. to get this stuff done because I didn't want to get on the call with you at night and say I didn't do my things. Not that I am some mean, scary person, obviously, but it's that accountability portion, right? We don't want to say, I didn't do what I said I was going to do. And then we have a reward mechanism triggered in our brain that when we get to show up and tell somebody, I did do what I said I was going to do. Oh, keyword, yeah, goals. Keyword number 1 is goals. Actually, this class is only an hour, so we only need 3 of them. Thank you. That's why I usually team teach. Okay, so let's have Lynn read this one.
The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
Right, so if you're new, or even if you're not, if you're just wanting to level up and you hear numbers like 500,000 a year and all you've ever made is 20 or 30, that is a big jump mentally, right? So we do want to have those steps lined out. You want to know your numbers, you want to know the systems to get you there, you want to have everything tracked and measurable so that you can just start with that one step, because I can't go from 20,000 to 500,000 in my mind mentally unless I see this proven steps that somebody else has taken to get there. And then I focus on the next one and the next one and the next one, right? You've got to have these steps. So the step number 1 is very important. Being credible, right? This is the thing. It doesn't matter how big of a reach you have, whether you have 5,400, 50.
I don't even remember.
Lynn's the winner. You get the gift card. 5,100 or 3, was it 600, 300?
5,100. Yeah.
Doesn't matter how big your reach is
So we'll
or how often you're calling them if they don't think you're credible, right? So when I first started in this industry, my whole SOI just knew me as a life coach and motivational speaker. And they're like, what do you know about real estate? Specifically my sister, who is 50 years old and still renting. And so when I started, preaching to her about all the things that I was learning, it was like talking to a brick wall. So we just adjust, right? You can't get to someone right away if you're new or people really close to you aren't ready to see you that way yet. We just adjust, right? So the video marketing on your little 1 to 2 minute educational reels that we're going to talk about in a minute. Flip the light switch on for her and her husband like that. They watched my very first video where I had the cost of waiting chart and those things. And like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize we were getting that far behind. And they started getting prepared to save up their down payment. Even though I'm her little sister, right? So self-educate. Again, the best thing is no one's telling you what to do. And the worst thing is no one's telling you what to do. So you have to self-select into this. Educate, educate, educate. So this is one of the reasons why I love coming here, because you guys are all about education, just like I am. You guys have trainings here at least once a week, the Wednesday trainings, and then you also have the Monday mastermind where everyone talks about, we do the same thing at my branch. We have pipeline twice a week where the whole team gets together. And if anyone has a challenging issue, like, I don't know how to find the workaround for this one, there's a whole bunch of other people to talk to. And then we can pull in the other branches as well. We can pull in the corporate office. Like we all collectively work together to find the workarounds, to find the hidden guideline that we don't know or whatever. So that we're all educated. So that's what I like about it here too. Everyone works together, everyone trains each other, but are you forced to come here? Did Jeff and Lynn make anybody come here? Did they pay any of you to come here? You did. And I kind of made you. No, it's not. But you chose him because you guys want to level up. You want to make 500,000 a year. You can't do that on your own. You have to get educated to get there, right? So you chose into that. Way to go. And I like to split this into two because we're not just business individuals, we're holistic individuals. So if you know the ins and outs of the REPC and you know the guidelines and regulations on the code of ethics and the negotiation, but you don't have communication skills or people skills or public speaking skills, then it's going to be difficult for them to trust you, right? So if you show up scared and timid, even though you technically know what you're talking about, how am I going to trust that you are going to negotiate like a bulldog for me? I can't, right? So we've got to be looking for our weak points and doing personal development as well as your business development. So if you're seasoned, I recommend 30 minutes of each a day. So find your, you look up the stats on utahrealestate.com. You guys should know that, those numbers at any moment, just like I should know today's rates at any moment. Like that's your core stuff that people are asking you, but then get on. So if you need access to the marketing updates on Keeping Current Matters or list reports, get on my list. I offer that for free for everyone I work with, or find your own. Find your resources, be up to date, have it in your schedule, keep the commitments and these appointments to yourself, just like you would your kid's doctor appointment, right? Because your life depends on it. Your livelihood depends on it, so your life depends on it. I don't know about you, but I can't survive very well without money flowing in. So my life depends on me knowing what I'm talking about, me knowing how to do my job well, and my marketing, right? So does yours. So self-educating. Dressing the part. Now, this doesn't mean you have to show up in a business suit everywhere you go. You can if you want to. It's what you're comfortable with and what your SOI is comfortable with. So, but be authentic, right? So if you're guys who like to wear shorts and barefoot everywhere you go, don't show up in a business suit randomly, right? Because people are gonna be like, that's weird, that's not you. But I like to dress up. And so if I showed up in shorts and bare feet here, you're like, what is good? Do you have a headache today? Like, what's going on, right? Be authentic, know your look, know who you are, and be authentic to that, right? But still, even if, like, so Jeff is so cool that even in shorts and bare feet, you all know he's very professional. Is that an accurate assessment?
It's very good.
Right. Yeah, that's true. So dressing the part doesn't mean you need to, it doesn't mean you need to dress to the nines everywhere you go, but it's more about the confidence in knowing who you are and what you're capable of, right? So let's do keyword number 2, credibility. Okay, Mark's gonna love this next one. Have a good headshot. We co-market some things together and he didn't want to do his headshot for the longest time. This is something that helps people connect with you personally, seeing your face. If they just see your logo without a face, you're just this entity. You might as well be a robot. There is no personal rapport there. But when they see, like we have already discussed, when they see your face knocking on the door every month without fail, and it's the same face that is the flyers that you leave and the mailers that you send, and they're like, oh, I know that guy. He was just in here playing puzzles with my kids last month, right? Every time they see your face now, it reminds them of that warm experience that you've built. So have your face on your cards, on your mailers, on your website, on everything. And if you're shy about that, get over it. Do the self-educate thing and learn some self-esteem, because you need to have your face out there. You're in a self-marketing industry, so learn to promote yourself. Make sure you have an IDX compatible website. I don't know. Do you guys have your own websites, or is there okay, everyone's in charge of their own websites here. Okay, so IDX compatible means that they can look up the NMLS through you instead of random Google searching and ending up on Zillow, where then they promote other agents and other lenders, and none of us wants that. So have your own website that is IDX compatible. If you need some resources, I have some written down. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but I can email that to you, or maybe you probably have some resources too. The other thing, so educating your clients, along with the people who call you, or when you're striking up a conversation in line, at the tire store or the grocery store. I mean, I got 2 deals flying back from Florida in February because I talked to the guy I was sitting next to in the airport and I talked to my Uber driver on the way back. And both of them are in my pipeline being nurtured now to be first-time home buyers. So be doing that, but along with that, you've already got, or we're building a database. So weekly emails to go out or a monthly newsletter at very least, right? Getting that education. So if you want access to list reports that can do market updates for you, let me know. That's complimentary of me, or you can find your own and create your own. And then have a list of questions ready that you do get a lot. So like right now, we are always probably weekly or at least twice a month, Mike and I are fine tuning our investor class and our home buyer class based on the current questions, because the market is flipping almost daily, it seems like, right? So the pendulum swung to this buyer's market where we were getting the seller's concessions, so we were doing the 2-to-1 buy downs, left to right, and now it's swinging back the other way. There was only one other offer on that one we just got, right? Oh, there was, they didn't come in. Okay, well, there was more that one was coming in, and every single buyer I've had for the past 3 weeks has dealt with multiple offers on at least one property that they were interested in. So the pendulum is swinging back the other way, and we need to be on top of knowing what's going on and how to answer those questions and how to pivot, how to negotiate properly with what's going on, because what worked a month ago is not going to work today, right? So know the questions you're being asked and self-educate those, get the answers. And if you don't know where to find it, who do you go to? Do you have someone you can go to? Make sure you do. Do you have a mentor? Do you have a broker? Do you have a lender that's ready to answer your questions? Make sure you have your team ready to call and ask if you don't know the answers or you don't know where to find them. Be resourceful and have a team of people who can answer them for you. So like I teach a 1031 exchange CE class, but it's the basics. By no means do I promote myself as an expert. I have 2 experts I refer people to if they have deeper questions for any of those things. Okay, where are we at on that? Okay, very good. All right, building your list. Okay, so if you want to scan this QR code, I do have an electronic database. If you want to use that to get started until you get something of your own, or even keep using that if you want, but it's got first columns for first name, last name, address, phone number, email, their birth date, and then it's also color coded. So if you can put a little note in there saying call them on this date, and when it gets close to that it'll turn yellow, and when it gets on that date or after that date it will turn red, so that because as you get 250 names on there or more, you don't want to have to be reading all of the notes every single day during your power hour, so it's color coded.
It's easy to give access to the permissions on that.
We can all request access.
Okay, just request access. I'll fix that next. And then as you are, so that is for the context you already have. So the ones in your phone, get them in there so that you can start promoting newsletters, email lists, things like that. But if you don't have at least 250, which everyone here does, or you just want to add more, we created this memory jogger handout for you guys. So this is your homework, along with getting a database together. So it's a memory jogger, so it's going to give you some ideas of things to just stir up who you know and who should be in here, and we're going to talk about how to reach out to them. Okay, so the first thing is to introduce and connect. One of the easiest ways is to have an event, right? If you guys are doing your summer splash party or want to invite to our summer barbecue, or if you want to host a home buyer class or investor class, those are the easiest ways to reach out, to introduce and connect. But if you don't have an event planned anytime soon, does that mean we should be postponing calling and connecting with people? Of course not. We got to have our power hour in every single day. So you can mail out some letters and then have a system where you call them and follow up. So you've got to be organized. This is why you have your database, right? You're saying you've got to mark who you sent the letters to. So if you're doing 5 a day, 10 a day, and then the next day, about 2 or 3 days after that, depending on how far away they live from you, give it 3 days probably. have your follow-up system. So then you might do 10 the first 3 days, but then you're doing 5 letters and 5 follow-up calls. Especially if you switch brokerages, this is a really good reason to call and reach out, send them a letter saying, hey, this is what's going on in my life, and this is what I'm doing now. And it's not salesy, it's your life. This is what you do. You share about your family, share about your career move, and then call them and say, hey, did I have your right address? Did you get my letter? And how's Tom and Sally, and how's soccer? And get connected with those forward questions, right? We love that the Ford acronym works every time because, and especially if you're genuine and sincere, you want to know about their family, what they're doing in their occupation, recreation, and dreams. They're naturally then going to want to open up. People like to talk about themselves, but then also then it's very natural for them to then ask you about yours. That's where you get, okay, yeah, I'm in real estate and I just switched over here to EXP or to what's your looking to do for?
Why haven't we talked?
Okay, so I haven't worked with you yet, but we're going to. Be visible. So on top of your phone calls and your emails, again, have your social media going, have your newsletters going, and then you can get, when you're ready to do a mailing list, there's some easy ideas where in January, it's really easy to send them their settlement statements so they can use that for their taxes. We do that. We send out the closing disclosures in January so that they have that for their taxes. But you guys can also get involved in that. February, that's a really good time to reach out and say, hey, the buying season is just around the corner. Do you want to do you want to talk to a lender and start getting ready now so that you're in the best possible position when the market heats up, or when the kids are getting out of school and when you are ready? It's always better to know where you're at sooner rather than later, right? We do same day approvals all the time, but if you can get someone into your lender sooner rather than later, we can help them get in the best possible position. Summertime, so client appreciation events. This is my favorite. You guys have big ones that you can invite them to, but if you don't, do a summer backyard barbecue with your top 10 or 20. It's very fun. It's a very easy way to connect. You go really deep in those relationships. I know some people that do monthly bunko nights in their home, or twice monthly Topgolf events. It just depends on your personality and your SOI. But find some way to connect and invite. And remember, it is not ever about the event. Actually, it's not about what you do. It's not even about whether they come or not. It's about the reason to call and invite them. That's the whole point, is to connect with them. Because when you do a big event, how much FaceTime do you get with your people that come? I mean, you guys, your splash park thing, how much FaceTime did you get with your people that came?
A few minutes each.
Yeah, if that.
Go around and
Yeah.
try to get everybody.
Yeah. So you try to go together and you get a couple minutes. And when we do our big summer barbecue, or I've done a movie event for SOI that actually was full because there wasn't a snowstorm. That I don't even actually see some of the people. They text me and say thank you afterwards. I'm like, I didn't even know you came. So you've got 150 people there and they're all wanting to get in and out. They want to get in and get their seat, and then afterwards it's 10 o'clock at night. They want to get home. So it's fun to have that, but it's not about the event, unless it's, maybe the backyard barbecue or monthly game night or something. But if you're doing a big event, it's about the reason to invite, and you can't. Email blasts are not enough. Most people delete them or don't even read them. Text messages have a slightly better response.
Oh, I'm saying junk them.
Oh, junk. Yeah, sometimes they go straight to junk and they don't even see them. That is true. Personal phone calls make people feel special, wanted, seen, appreciated. That will not only increase your attendance rate, but again, that's not the point. The point is connecting with them. The forward questions, just taking that time.
On that, I sent out I make a point to wish everybody a happy birthday on Facebook. I don't know everybody's birthday, actually. That's my benefit, right? So the people I know a little bit more intimately, I'll send them a personalized message through messengers. And I sent I actually text, instead of sending that, I text even closer people. And one of the guys said, hey, you were the only person who texted me on my birthday. I really appreciate it. And somebody I normally don't really talk to, but
It's true. And I
And
do.
I wasn't doing it to make you feel good or anything, just like, hey, I'm doing some marketing.
But you got-
Like, you got really good. That's what you told me. No, I didn't know. Wait, I just did this for marketing, weird. I'm just kidding.
My birthday was in March and I still remember you texted me on my birthday. Same thing, I had the same effect.
But we're.
So.
It wasn't-
Oh, yeah, but you know what I
We're
mean.
friends.
I actually remember that. You know what I mean? Because those things do stick out to people. Whoa, everyone can do it on Facebook. Everyone does. There's always like 200 of those and you're like, thanks. But the people who sent the text message or even a phone call, if it's your top 8 people, that sticks out. They really remember that because that's their special day. So when emotions are heightened, memories are remembered and recalled. So, and created, right? So that does make a difference. So it's the same effect when you're inviting to an event. So, back when, before I got into real estate and, you know my story, struggling single mom, blah, 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 never thought I would own again, blah, blah, blah. My agent at the time, though, continued to personally invite me to his events. And my kids would get to go to the pumpkin patches and the ice skating. And during that first couple of years after my divorce, that was the only activities we got. So you can bet that that meant the world to me at that time. Now, I did not think of it as a marketing event either. I just remember that mindset of being included and invited. And I'm like, there's no way he's going to get any money out of me. That's so kind of him to invite it. Well, eventually he did. That's not the point. The point was my mindset as a non-real estate person, potential future home buyer. It meant the world to me to have me and my kids invited to those events. And most especially if you get a personal phone call or at least a text message. Again, it's not about whether they come or not. It's about you inviting them. You took the time to personally remember who they are for the event, for the birthday, and reach out. They remember that. They refer you then. You show you genuinely care and remember these things, and then they start to refer you as well. Obviously, November, December, it's easy to do holiday pop buys and events. If you don't have a team one going on and you don't have the money to do your own, you can just create one with a few, like co-market with a few other agents and a lender. Like there's a lot of options there, right? Get creative. Okay. Pop buys, those are great. I'm just gonna send you the slide on that one. Let's get to that. Being proactive. Definitely don't want to sit back and wait for things to come to you, right? You need to be proactive on your systems. Following up afterwards. So here's a system for following up afterwards. So you can bring the closing gift to the closing, or you can bring it to when you deliver the keys or when you do that. Do you guys meet them at the property and go through to deliver the keys and bring a gift there? I know some people do, and I think that's really meaningful to bring a gift then at that point in time. Do a phone call 1 week after. Hey, how's the moving going? Are you guys still packing? Have you moved in yet? Because there's sometimes people it's not right away, right? They have a whole month, sometimes 2, before they have to make a payment. And sometimes they're not out of their lease yet, so they might not move right away. So ask them, oh, do you know where to find cardboard boxes if they haven't moved yet? Or how's that process going? So 1 week phone call post-closing. 1 month. Hey, are you guys settled in? How's things going? Like, did everyone figure out their bedrooms? Or the kids fighting over who has what? Find some reason to call it 1 month. And then 6 months. 6 months. How's the neighborhood going for you? Have you met your neighbors? How's the kids at school? Do they like the school system? How are things going? And then again at 1 year, hey, oh my gosh, it's your 1 year home anniversary, and maybe even send something to them, but the phone calls are really what make the difference. And when you do that, you do the 1 week, 1 month, 6 month, and 1 year forever after. That is that personal touch that then when you call, you don't even have to ask, hey, do you know anyone who's buying or selling? They'll remember, like, oh, you know what? My sister-in-law is getting ready, and you've just been so on top of things, and you just show up and you invite us to everything. I just want to give you my sister-in-law's name right now. Those are the things that happen when you have these personalized systems and you're building that rapport and that connection. We're pretty much out of time. Hmm. Do you guys know about Power Hour? Hmm? No, I do that at the very end, because I'm only gonna do 3 instead of 5, because it was a 1-hour class, not a 2-hour class. So Power Hour every single day, we talk about this all of the time. Never miss less than 1 hour, 4 days a week, or you will not have a business. Well, he's been in, he's not getting credit.
I know.
So, Power Hour, minimum, very minimum, to have a real estate business that's active and consistent. 1 hour, 4 days a week of Power Hour, and that is not researching the business. That is not your self-education time. That is not building your website time. That is the active, like we call real estate a contact sport, right? Those are the phone calls. Those are the pop buys. Those are the door knockings. Active engagement with your SOI or new leads is the Power Hour. Then everything else is scheduled around that. Okay, those are all the things I do. All right, so scan the QR code, fill out your information, and then as soon as you guys are done, raise your hand. And the third word is credit. Just because it's on the screen. Third word is credit. So fill out the form, and as soon as everybody is done, we'll give you just a minute here. Then we have an amazing new sponsor who is a friend of mine, and I'm going to let him come up here and tell you all about his awesome products. And then he also has provided lunch, but I'll wait just a minute for everyone to get their forms filled out if you don't. So
You're out of that.
what?
Wow. Wow.
Say heifer.
So,
Oh,
oh God. Okay, so let's.
she walks over and slaps him. That's the fastest way to lose a friend.
Right.
Not just cow, not cow.
Ooh, something cow.
It's not letting me do it.
It's not letting you do that.
It's an unsafe site.
Oh, your words.
I don't guess. Get out of it.
Didn't you get banned from Facebook too?
Somebody's like,
You could never say anything about anything.
I don't either, and I've been banned from events
I
for
think
life.
it did.
I can't create my own events for life. I don't even know what I did. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I know.
I feel like people just are jealous and then they report things that shouldn't be reported and then you have.
In jail, Facebook jail.
Push me
Yeah.
back.
Okay, we still got a couple people filling it out.
It's good stuff, Debbie. Why don't, while they're doing that, why don't you maybe tell a little bit about some of the stuff that you do to work with them?
Okay, so, yeah, on top of that database sheet that I sent you, we have that whole, I mean, some of you have done it already, but I sent you the whole coaching package system. So it has the marketing, some of the marketing things we talked about today and a whole lot more. So there's a book that James and I wrote together, and then there's the business plan and the different marketing systems for, so whether you're going to be farming or whether it's your friends and family SOI, or whether it's a business professional network, we have systems in there for each one of those. And then recommended frequency touches and ideas to do that. And then a tracking sheet, so you can track your goals, your power hour, the access to an accountability partner. So if you want to, I can send all of that to you, and we do have that previous one recorded from where we did it here last October. Or if you want to come to it live in person and get CE credit, we're doing the next one April 28th at my office, which is a Friday. So that'll have lunch, it'll have the books, the daily success planner, the coaching packets, the business plan, yeah. obviously, we do CE classes all the time, so I'm here at least once a month. Every other Friday on Zoom, I'm doing them. Homework classes, investor classes, loan consultations, obviously, so all that fun stuff. Okay, everybody good? Are we ready for my new friend?
Ready.
Okay,
Without
so this
further
is
ado.
Patrick Parker.
Packer.
Sorry, Packer.
So. How are you?
This is Pat.
2 years sober, no. No, just kidding. Who knows or have heard of Goosehead before? Not you. So Goosehead is a national agency. I bought the franchise. I was the fourth one to buy a franchise here in Utah. There are now 8. Goosehead was started by a loan officer and a real estate agent that got tired of waiting for insurance agents to get their stuff back to them. Those loan officers that are in the room, how many are here? Just that one. 2, but real estate agents, if you're having to wait for the binders to get back, it's kind of been frustrating and can sometimes push back some of your closings. So they started it to kind of stop that bottleneck. They stopped that bottleneck by having everything in-house. So if you need binder changes, you send me an email, you send binder an email, and you get your binder changes back within 45 minutes. That's where and they spend all of their marketing dollars on you folks. Loan officers, real estate agents, to increase our SOIs. Because word of mouth goes so far within the insurance world, but if you can get constant referrals from people like you, then that makes our job that much easier. So I came from the healthcare industry. So I was medical device sales rep. So I'm keen on education like this. And I'm also keen on partnering with you guys. I realize that I can't provide you as many leads as you could provide me. So I try to do stuff like this to help promote myself, but to help you along the way as well. So that's me in a nutshell. I brought my office manager, Megan. She's pretty much the brains, and I just pretty much stick around on things. So thank you.
Hey, thanks, Patrick. All right, guys, how many of you need to work on your database besides me? Hey, thanks for joining us on Zoom, guys. Good seeing you. We're gonna log out and we're gonna stick around here and visit and have so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Guys, reach out if I can do anything for you. See ya. Bye.
That's what you get when I'm being here.